The boys of summer are here. It's the AnimeNation podcast with hosts John
and Gene. We're back.
And we start off this week with news that the venerable J9 robot anime franchise is making a comeback. To tremendous surprise, the creator of the original J9 franchise, Yu Yamamoto, is going to be writing a brand new fourth series in the original three franchise trilogy. The new series will be called Ginga Jinpu Jin Rider. This will be a sequel to the relatively, in America, little known but very well beloved original anime from the early 80s. Ginga Senpu Rider aired back in 1981. That was inspired by the Japanese Hisatsu, or Sure Death, live-action samurai movies that were being released at the time. That was followed up by Ginga Reppu Batsugar in 1982, which was inspired by the historical Japanese Shinsengumi. And then in 1983 was Ginga Shippu Sasuriger, which was less robot-oriented, but still very much adventure sci-fi oriented. Those three series each involved four heroes and involved giant robots, but were very much, you can almost call them predecessors to Cowboy Bebop. They were very much sci-fi space adventure, sort of espionage, thriller sort of shows. So now we'll be getting a new one, which will not be directly related, although these three series were not directly related, but in the same tone and vein of the original 80s J9 series. So we don't know exactly when this will be coming up, but probably next year is a safe bet.
It's going way back.
Mm-hmm.
Seven Deadly Sins anime is announced. Nakaba Suzuki's acclaimed shonen fantasy manga series, Nanatsu no Taizai, Seven Deadly Sins, is getting a TV series. His manga premiered in 2012, not too long ago, about a princess on the run who seeks the aid of kingdom's former elite knights known as the Seven Deadly Sins. And I told you that sounds familiar to me.
Well, apart from being a biblical reference, it's also the title of a Queen's Blade style anime and figure franchise from Hobby Japan. They did have an anime announced, but hasn't actually developed that anime yet. So this is not the same as the very, very busty gods who are in female form franchise. Different title. Although they have the same title, different franchises. But since, for example, Magi has done very well, Fairy Tail is doing well, an anime title like this seems like it carries forth that same tone and atmosphere. Sega Hard Girls, as in Sega Hardware Girls, is getting an anime TV series. The Sega Hard Girls franchise is primarily a serialized novel written by Taro Shiwasu and illustrated by Kei, who was the original commercial character designer for Hatsune Miku. Kei has also taken, 17 of Sega's earlier hardware console video game systems. Things like the Dreamcast, the Saturn, the Mega Drive, the Game Gear, and turned them into goddesses, turned them into girls who are supernatural beings. So they are therefore the Sega Hardware or Hard Girls. So that will be getting an anime TV series soon, which is probably getting an anime because the Neptunia anime went over pretty well. Because those of you that are familiar with it will realize that Neptunia did roughly the same thing, using girls from the Nintendo, Sony, and Sega hardware franchises and turning them into girls.
And if I put a Futanari joke in here about the title, that would be inappropriate, I suppose, right? Good, I won't do that. Idolmaster Cinderella Girls announced 2011 mobile device game spin-off. I hadn't heard of that one. From Namco's Idolmaster simulation game franchise, getting an anime TV series next year. Noriko Takao, who directed several episodes of the 2011 Idolmaster anime TV series, I did see some of that, will direct and co-write the series along with Tetsuya Takahashi, who wrote multiple episodes of the 2011 TV series, and a screenplay for the 2014 film. Studio A1 Pictures produced the 2011 TV series, and the movie. He'll do the animation.
The game is phenomenally popular. Mobile device game for like cell phones. Hugely successful in Japan. So it's not surprising at all that he's getting its own spin-off anime television series. So the Okami Shoujo Tokuro Oji manga by Ayuka Hata is getting an anime TV series as well. This would be the Wolf Girl and Black Prince. This is a relatively recent 2011 and ongoing manga series that revolves around a high school girl who claims to have a great relationship with her boyfriend, and to prove this, she shows her friends a photograph of a boy who she claims is her boyfriend, but in fact she has no idea who this person is. Well, it turns out that the person in the photograph, who she claims is her boyfriend, is actually another student at her school. So in order to propagate the lie, she has to convince him to pose as her boyfriend. Well, it turns out he agrees because he's a very sadistic, cruel-hearted bastard who loves holding this over her head and torturing her with it. So this will be a sort of spiteful, slyly comic romantic comedy. So again, we don't know exactly when this TV series will be coming up, but this is one we can probably anticipate later this year, if not early next year. Probably later this year. Summer, maybe possibly this fall.
Sounds like it's got potential to me. Sounds like it might be interesting. Trigger is animating Ninja Slayer. Studio Trigger, Little Witch Academia, probably everyone remembers that, Kill la Kill.
Even more so.
Yeah. Will produce the anime TV series adaptation of Ninja Slayer light novel series. Cyberpunk Ninja series came out a couple years ago, 2012. These are the books that are credited to American creators, but were actually written by Japanese creators, Bradley Bond and Philip Ninja Morzes, but it's actually Honda Yu and Sugi Leika. And I think you mentioned that last week.
We mentioned that it was getting an anime last week, but now we know who is animating it.
Well, I like Studio Trigger.
Yes, seemingly everybody does lately. So they've got a lot on their plate, but so far they've pulled through very well. So seeing what they can do with a crazy, off-the-cuff cyber ninja show could be really interesting. So we'll see. Dion by Akiko Ikeda, sorry, it took me a moment to look that up and forgotten. Is a character mascot that you've probably seen before, but may not have known a lot about. Dion is the black and white cat with very odd-looking, very Asian-looking slanted eyes. They're very large, so the cat actually kind of looks like a freakish mutant. But the cat is also tremendously popular. The first Dion the Cat children's picture book was published back in 1984. The series now has its own museum, it has its own theme park. The franchise is hugely popular in Europe. Dark Horse has printed some of the children's books here in America. But despite having so much art and so much international popularity, it's never been animated before. But it will be getting its own anime shorts finally this month. On April 26th, the Japanese variety program Music Launcher will start airing short animated segments of Neko no Dion, or Dion the Cat. So, because it's part of another show, we don't know over here in America if we'll actually get to see any of these, but as usual, for Otaku, it's nice to know that these things exist, even if we don't have an opportunity to see them.
Look it up. Papa Cried Wolf, getting an anime film adaptation. This is Ichigo Ichi Films. It's announced plans to produce a CG anime feature film titled Lobo, based on the children's picture book Papa Cried Wolf by American author Chris Kurtz. and it's a book from 2010. It revolves around a Chihuahua that dreams of joining a wild wolf pack.
The Chihuahua naturally has talking animal companions that help him out. Our domestic Chihuahua does find wolves in Yellowstone National Park, and naturally becomes to realize that maybe he's a little bit out of his depth. Now that American CG films like Rio 2 are proving to be pretty successful, this really skews toward the exact same tone, exact same audience, so I can see why a Japanese studio might want to adapt this to try and capitalize on that similar audience. I'm quite thrilled, among many people, that Gangan Biori is getting a second season. Gangan Biori, for those of you who are not familiar with it, was a manga by Ato, which got an anime TV series in 2013, last fall. It's a show about very, very rural schoolgirls. It's a show about girls that live out in the countryside where there are only 4 students in their entire school. And, for example, they have no internet. They hear about local news a couple of days later. They don't get, for example, Shonen Jump magazine until 3 or 4 days after it's released. So they live out in the country. But it's a very cute, heartwarming show about their slice of life, sort of comic adventures. Because it's a very subdued sort of show, it slipped under the radar for a lot of people, but it did become quite a cult hit, and now has proven itself successful enough that it will be getting a second season. It's also getting an OAD episode. The 7th volume of the manga by Ato will be released on July 23rd. The limited edition versions of that book will come with an exclusive anime episode on DVD. So, great news there for fans.
Third Shingeki no Kyojin OAD announced. Did we talk about this last week?
Not surprisingly, we talk about Shingeki no Kyojin almost every week, but
right.
it's always new announcements.
The 14th collected volume of Shingeki no Kyojin, Attack on Titan, will be released on August 8th, regular edition and limited edition that includes the 3rd OAD episode.
Yep, it seems like this franchise is just going to keep going for as long as it possibly can. Last week we announced, I believe it was last week, we announced the 2 compilation feature films. So now we've got a 3rd OAD episode coming up. From anime horror, we move to live action horror, and the announcement that Zed, the manga by Koji Aihara, will be getting not one adaptation, but a series of live-action adaptations. Norio Tsuruta, the director of Ring Zero, is going to write and personally direct a feature film based on the zombie outbreak manga Zed, and then a series of short live-action supplemental films. So the live-action film will hit Japanese theaters and limited release this summer, and then that will be released in a 2-disc special edition DVD, which will be followed by 4 more DVDs containing the supplemental short films. The original manga is a series of stories about the panic and violence that erupts in Japan after a zombie outbreak, so that way it lends itself to multiple short film adaptations with different characters.
There's just no end to the lifespan, no pun intended, of the zombie, fascinating.
Sorry,
I would have thought it would have petered out by now, but it's still going strong. Let's see, what do we got? Yoko Kuhan. Movie announced. Tsui's 2012 crime manga, Yoko Kuhan, Prophecy, will be getting a feature film adaptation. The manga revolves around a police investigation of a serial arsonist known as Newspaperman. The announcement doesn't specify whether the film will be live action or animated. That's kind of a big if, isn't it?
Japan tends to do that a lot. Similarly, they've done the exact same thing with the announcement that Kurage Hime will be getting a feature film. Kurage Hime, the manga by Akiko Hagashimura, was published originally in 2008 and they got a very, very successful Notamina anime television series in 2010, which you should still be able to pick up on American DVD from AnimeNation through distributor Funimation. This was a shoujo show about a cross-dressing boy who meets a very frumpy college girl and tries to bring out the feminine side of this girl by introducing her to fashion. We do know now that it will be getting a live-action feature film. We do know that it will be getting a feature film next year. We don't know, however, yet if it will be live-action or animated, but my guess is that it will probably be a live-action feature, because if this was going to be anime, it would probably have been made several years ago in 2010 when the anime TV series was produced.
Maybe it'll be both, like Roger Rabbit or Cool
It's certainly a possibility, but this is a manga that really kind of lends itself to live action, so I anticipate this will probably be live action.
Fine.
Sorry to spoil your hopes out there, folks.
Discotheque acquires holes in Sherlock Hound. Discotheque's still going strong.
Mm-hmm, indeed.
Yeah. Isao Takahata's directorial debut, 68 fantasy film Taiyo no Oji, Holes no Daibuken, Holes the Principal Son. That's Holes. Film will release this December. And Hayao Miyazaki's 84 series Meitante, am I saying that right? Meitante Holmes.
Great Detective Holmes, yes.
Okay. I never actually heard that. I just heard Sherlock Holmes. Originally released by Gineon on 6 DVDs in 2002. I remember 26 episodes in a single bilingual collection on September 30th.
Yeah, these are pretty nice acquisitions.
Yeah.
Prince of the Sun has been a fan favorite feature film for many, many years now. Isao Takahata, I anticipate will know, is the director of Graveyard of Fireflies, My Neighbor the Yamagas. He's the director of the current film Taketori Monogatari, or now I've completely forgotten the actual title of the film. It's based on Taketori Monogatari. Hayao Miyazaki did do some animation work on the film, and then, as mentioned, Sherlock Hound, or Great Detective Holmes, finally getting re-released. This is great news because the original DVD release by Gineon didn't get a tremendous amount of distribution here in America.
Mm-hmm.
Now those DVDs are extremely rare and are very, very expensive. So for those people that want to see the show now, finally, this will be an actual affordable way to watch the show, especially in its original language. So great acquisitions there we can look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Nipponichi Software America, or NISA, has picked up Gawarare and Love Live 2. Now, Gawarare, the Japanese abbreviation, may be more familiar to you as this week's brand new Kanojo ga Flag o Arare Tara anime series, or She Can Drop the Flag. This was a romantic comedy show that just started this week in Japan. It is currently streaming on Crunchyroll, so if you're interested in checking it out, you know where to find it. Nipponichi Software has acquired the distribution rights, the home video distribution rights to that, and Love Live 2, which is less of a surprise since late in 2012, NISA announced its acquisition of the first Love Live television series. They have yet to release it domestically, however, though.
Funimation acquires One Piece Film Z. They announced plans to release One Piece Film Z, 11th One Piece feature film. God, has it been that many? I guess it has. On domestic home video this fall, One Piece creator Ichiro Oda personally executive produced the 2012 film as an extension of the ongoing TV series.
Personally, I am a bit more fond of Strong World, the 10th movie that Ichiro Oda personally wrote, versus Film Z. However, these still are among the stronger of the One Piece movies because they've got so much influence and direct involvement from the original creator in them. So while we still don't have all the One Piece movies over here, Funimation is picking and choosing and cherry picking the better ones to bring over here, at least so far. If you can't wait that long to pick up some brand new anime, we have some interesting new releases right now. This past week, Sentai Film Arts re-released Zero no Tsukaima, or The Familiar of Zero, on DVD, and for the first time in America on Blu-ray. So that is the first season. Second season still to come.
Naruto, shipping it. Set 18, or up to 18 on that one, from Viz.
And Aniplex America officially released the third Madoka Magica movie in America in an official import version. So it is Blu-ray only, and you're looking at $70 for the standard edition, and what is it, 100 something? I don't even recall exactly because it's currently out of my price range. But 100 something for the limited edition version. Now, these are expensive, but then again, these are Japanese releases, so you're paying Japanese price. Once again, as I mentioned, there are very few shows as good as Madoka Magica, so if there is any anime worth the price, this is one of them. Familiar of Zero no Tsukaima has been out of production, like Sherlock Hound, in America for a number of years. It has been up till now very, very expensive to acquire in the second-hand market, so it's nice to have that back on regular circulation, so people that are interested in it can afford it now. Outside of the news,
we're out of material.
Yeah,
except for what's going on. What's going on with you?
What's going on with me is I'm trying my best to keep up with the current anime season. The new season, as just mentioned, started last week and is still unfolding, but so far there have been, depending on how you count new, roughly 63 brand new anime television series either this week or last week. That's a whole lot of brand new anime to keep track of. I've been outside of work doing my best to keep up with them. So far I've watched about 35 first episodes out of the new shows. It tells me I've got a long way to go, but it tells me I'm also off to a good start. My opinions of them so far, my opinion overall of the season is that I'm pleased that we get so much new anime to choose from. My opinion of the season is that it's not the worst season we've had. This is a moderately good season compared to some that we've had recently, but there don't really seem to be very many standout, exceptional shows so far this season. I can say that I've been moderately disappointed, as could be expected, with Disc Wars Avengers. Sadly, you would figure that with Japanese production from Toei and American input from Disney and Marvel, there would be a lot of investment placed into a brand new Marvel anime series. However, traditionally, that's not been the case. Typically, most of the Marvel anime have been a little bit underfunded, a little bit underproduced. That goes tremendously for the new Disc Wars Avengers first episode. The character models sometimes slide off Bible noticeably. The animation quality is distinctly a little bit jerky. The narrative feels a little bit disjointed. So a little bit disappointed with Disc Wars Avengers. But then again, it is skewed for very small children, so maybe they won't mind. I was also a little bit disappointed by Mangaka-san to Assistant-san. I'm usually interested in anime about making anime about making manga. Shows like Dojin Works and Bakuman and Genshiken have been pretty interesting. However, while those have been interesting, this one ends up, again, looking a little bit underfunded in the production aspect, and narratively, sadly, has actually very, very little to do with making manga, and much more to do with really unfunny sex jokes. So I was a little bit disappointed with that. However, on the other hand, Kantoku Fuyuki Todoki, the sort of biographical anime of Hideaki Anno has been tremendously funny. Now, the first episode is only 2 or 3 minutes long, but very, very die-hard otaku-oriented, quite funny. So it's really neat to get this sort of slice-of-life perspective into the real life of a genuine Japanese otaking. Some of the sports anime this season have interested me. Baby Steps is the new tennis anime. Haikyuu is the new boys high school volleyball anime. Both of those have surprised me. I found both of those more intriguing than I expected to. I'm also sort of amazed that Baby Steps, which stars a obsessive-compulsive disorder main character, made me realize, why doesn't more anime have obsessive-compulsive characters? The mental disorder is as common in Japan as it is in America. You'd figure that it would lend itself to lots of exploitation in anime. There's a lot you could do with any anime, but it's actually never been done before, which struck me as unusual. The latest show that I watched, actually just before this recording, I watched Gosho-sama wa Usagi desu ka? I probably got that name slightly wrong, but the anime is The Order of Rabbit. This is probably the most moe anime since possibly Shukufuku no Campanella several years ago. Really, just almost a moe overload. I kind of like it though, I will admit.
You like moe.
I kind of like it. So, good season so far. Not really many outstanding shows, but we still have a ways to go. So, check back in next week and see if anything else has piqued my interest. Anything going on with you?
No, working. I told you I was jonesing for some movies, seen everything, watched I, Frankenstein. Ugh.
Okay.
Watched, what was the other one I mentioned?
The new RoboCop?
The new RoboCop. Ugh. So, there you go.
Well, we are interested in your opinions of those particular flicks because they are genre related. So if you're an anime fan like us, you're probably at least vaguely interested in movies like that. We're of course always interested in your opinions of everything else. So let us know. We're always eager. And tune in next week to hear what we think of everything new. So, this week at least, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.